Well, hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to our core team AMA number 7. These are opportunities for us to talk with the core team behind Game 7. Get in their brains, kind of understand what they're thinking, recent things that we've done, and maybe, just maybe, a little bit of what's on the horizon. Um, so today, we're going to be chatting about loot drop and credits. Now, let me know in the chat if you know what loot drop and credits are. Okay? I'm suspecting that some folks might be out of the loop. While you're doing that, let's do some quick intros. So, John, I'm volunteering you first. For folks who don't know who the heck you are, can you give us a quick intro, please?
Yeah, appreciate the voluntold, but yeah, good to meet all you guys. Love seeing this group of folks here. It's awesome. Steadily, slowly but surely growing. So yeah, my name is John. One of the co-founders of Game7. Kind of self-nominated lead janitor. I generally kind of help focus on a lot of the summon stuff. So yeah, kind of my background. I mean, I've been in crypto for quite some time. Got into crypto in 2013 when crypto was simply Bitcoin. A lot simpler times. And then met Ronan at Berkeley, co-founded blockchain at Berkeley. Met Steven. We went on to co-found SF Blockchain Week. Started a fund kind of in parallel with that, mainly investing in privacy preserving tech, specifically ZK. After we fully deployed that fund, went on to be managing partner at Marana Ventures, which was the Bybit co-founder's family office. And in parallel to that, they launched this multi-billion-dollar DAO called BitDAO, which is now known as Mantle. And so really went down the rabbit hole on kind of all things DAO. I'd been part of a bunch of different communities, kind of Web 2 and Web 3, and really kind of synthesized a lot of kind of like my passions into one thing. And so that kind of started this idea of, hey, what if we did kind of this DAO, this ecosystem, this nation around gaming? So obviously kind of linked up with a bunch of different folks, and we're like, okay, what could this look like? And then came Game 7, and it's like, if we want to organize a DAO at the scale of a nation, right? Like, we need some tooling for that, and that was really the catalyst to build the Summon product. So yeah, it's been a long, interesting journey, but yeah, that's kind of the long and short of it.
Very, very nice. Yeah, what a ridiculous journey, actually. Like, all the different things that you've touched to get to this point. It's wild how life kind of takes you on a journey sometimes. By the way, we just hit over 200 members in the audience, so shout out to all you guys, gals, people, individuals. Ronan, you're up next. Tell us a little bit about
What's
yourself.
going on? What's going on, Ryan? I think by now you should be introducing us, my friend. It's been 7 times, and I was expecting you to be taking notes. But yeah, just joking. I appreciate you. Yeah, so I'm one of the co-founder of Game7, the assistant janitor to John. I've been around the space, the crypto space, for about almost like 8, 9 years now. A lot of the same history as John. I mean, I was serving in the military for a couple of years. I was doing special forces reconnaissance. Got out, started currency trading, then went into online advertising and UA for games and early mobile. Then found myself together with John at UC Berkeley, built one of the biggest communities in the universities back in 2016 and 17. We've done a lot of work with both startups and enterprises back then, launched a bunch of tokens with projects in the space. Then yeah, got into raise a fund with John and a few other partners. And yeah, I found myself a couple years after running a big conference in San Francisco, one of the biggest game developer conference called San Francisco Blockchain Week, where I met the guys at Forte, where Forte were a big gaming platform that raised $725 million in 2021. So I was part of that team during that raise. And then obviously we wanted to kind of take one step farther and kind of understanding like where the gaming industry is going to go, and how we can create more value with this amount of capital. So they were willing to support us and kind of fund the initial idea of Game7. Which is kind of what John was mentioning earlier, and happy to discuss more on this call. And yeah, that's what brought me here. And I appreciate everyone joining. It's amazing to see people that have been coming every single time, asking great questions. It's amazing to see new people that I haven't met yet, and I'd be happy to meet each and every one of you. So if you're interested in chatting, asking any question, even directly, please reach out. I'm always here. I'm happy to answer anything.
Killer
Ryan,
intro.
back to you. Back to you, Ryan.
Wait, where's my credentials and introduction? Come on, man.
Okay,
You gotta
Ryan,
give what you
Ryan,
want to
Ryan.
get.
I know a lot about Ryan. So Ryan has 4 kids, which we don't know how. He's like 20-year-old with 4 kids, which is freaking crazy to me. And he's still running and working and hustling and literally in every single corner in the Web3 gaming space. And he's been doing a phenomenal job stewarding these AMAs and a few other events in Game7 community. He came from the bottom, and now he's here. So he really started as a community member, step up, contributed, really took the initiative to do bigger things than what he could do on his own. And I think Game7 is doing his best he can to give him the platform to get out there and really make a difference in the gaming industry. And this is Ryan, guys. Applause, applause.
Okay. Let's not do that again. I got too sentimental. It'll make me tear up here on the stage. Hey, I'll tell you one thing though. I am all over the place in Web3 gaming, but Game7 is home. Game7.
That's right. That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Okay. Enough of us patting each other on the back. Let's jump into what folks want to hear. So I mentioned at the start of the call, we're talking about loot drop. We're talking about credits. So John, Ronan, for those who don't know, can you give us an intro to loot drop?
Yeah. I mean, maybe we'll take it one step back because I think there's so many new people. It's like 250 now listening in. I think last time was like 140, so like we double the community over the last month, which is freaking amazing. And again, thanks everyone for joining. Maybe we'll just take a step back, and I think we're throwing around the term nation and what does it mean to build a digital nation for gamers. Maybe we'll talk about that just a little bit, and then we dive into the specifics. And I think a lot of people are asking for rewards, and we can talk about some rewards later. But maybe gonna take a step there. What do you think?
I think that's a great idea. Yeah, we do have a lot of new faces. So
Yeah,
let's go ahead. Let's take them back a little bit. Please go ahead.
cool. Yeah, cool. I mean, John, do you want to start? Or should I start?
Yeah, you can kick it off. I feel like I normally
Cool.
talk a lot on these things, so
Yeah.
take it away, sir.
We talk too much. Um, cool. So I think like when we talk about building a nation, I think for a lot of people it might sound radical or like really like intangible. I think it's important to look at just gaming in general, and looking at Roblox and Fortnite. I mean, the user base is basically bigger than entire countries with like real nations, right? So kind of seeing the correlation between like building a digital nation for games is really not that far-fetched. But I think at the start, really like thinking about the core, a nation really comprised a few very simple concepts, right? It's a group of people who share history, which is gaming, a culture, which is gaming, a language, which is gaming. And what we're doing is like we're governing ourselves by our own systems of governance and economy and also a currency, right? And when you look about gamers exist worldwide. They're the biggest population in the world. There's 3.6 billion gamers out there in the world. And kind of we believe that the gaming industry is really at the crossroads, because developers are currently really bound by a lot of extracting business models. They're locking, which basically locking players into this like pay to play trade mills, because the industry is currently run by monopolies and mega corporations. But we do believe that the future of gaming should really be for everyone, and it shouldn't be owned by these mega corporations. So our nation, and the way we think about our nation, is really a place for gamers to go and find a better model that aligns the value that's created in the gaming industry, so that both the players who are creating the experiences, the developers, but also the players who are bringing the value, bringing the social, bringing the interactions, are all rewarded for this contribution. And if you look about a nation, what does it mean to be a successful nation? We do need a political stability, right, and governance. We need strong economy. We need talented citizens, and we need the infrastructure, technology, and really the identity for our nation. So obviously, there's a lot of components that go into building a nation, and bootstrapping the Game7 Nation has been 3 years in the work. For people that don't know, we've been around for 3 years, and it will take time, and Rome wasn't built in one day. But we are already spending a lot of the time to spend on the infrastructure that really required to attract and onboard new citizens and new players into the future that we're creating, and we invite everyone to join. I think an analogy that I like to use sometimes, maybe for some folks, like we have people from all around the world, is like most of you, if you ever immigrated to like a new country, the first thing that, when you arrive, you look for obviously a home, you look for work, and you look for a community to be a part of. And then you look for the opportunity to grow and influence your surroundings, right? So to me, really the first stages of building a nation is to provide citizens with opportunity to work and in various activities that benefit the nation as a whole, right? So really the portal, what we launched earlier this year, is where we allow citizens to find those early opportunities to contribute to our nation in a positive way, what it will also benefit everyone and also benefit themselves personally, which is really important. But this is really not the end. Through the portal, then we'll be able to find your own community, like subgroups within our nation, that you can go on challenges and socialize and meet new friends and find career opportunities. And eventually all of this contribution really translate into the influence that you'll have over the entire nation in the governance that we'll create. So what it really means, like when we talk about, merit-based nation, what we mean is like every action that you take here contributes to your influence and your fair share in the value that this nation is going to be creating, because we want a place that both developers and players win in the value that they've created. So really until now, what we've done is we build a lot of technology and infrastructure to enable that the first cohort of talented cohort citizens to join us, to start playing games, to start contributing, to start earning. But the next phase will be about bootstrapping our economy, our governance system, so that we can all benefit from the value that we're creating and govern what the next 10 years is going to look like for us. So that's the high level. Brian, back to you.
It's it's amazing how far we've come, and like I can't agree more with what Ronan said there. Like the Game7 community, with all things in life, you get out of it what you put in. But if you look around some of the faces that have been here for a long time, it has been probably one of the brightest experiences in Web3 for most of us. So glad you're here, folks.
In life, there's a few opportunities that are life-changing, and when you see them, you have to launch on them and just go for it, right? And I think for me, seeing the community here and the people that are being part of it, like, it's just a testament to like, this is one of the biggest opportunities that we're all gonna have in our lifetime. So I'm super excited to see everybody succeed here and benefit from the value that we're creating.
Hey, shout out to another in the chat. They just let us know we hit 300 people.
Let's go.
Hey, let's go, man. Sick.
On to 400.
Amazing.
Okay, so with that context, maybe John, do you want to tie it back into the loot drop product and campaign?
Yeah, definitely. So I mean, I think we talked about it a little bit during the community AMA, but it's like last week. But obviously, there's a lot more folks here, and probably new and different folks. So yeah, so I mean, loot drop product was really born out of we saw a lot of different communities doing these activations where there's a lot of these like very simple quests, right? Where it's like you do an action, you get a reward, and so kind of having those like just shorter duration things, we realized didn't really match the kind of like true needs of a lot of communities. And so Loot Drop is a product that we've been planning for like 6 to 9 months. I mean, I like a year and a half ago, I was talking about like lock drop and kind of like the mechanics behind it. So I mean, it's been kind of like swimming around in my head for like quite a while. But we really just started building it like 6, 7 months ago. And it was kind of really interesting to see that like as we were building it, you had a lot of these communities doing these like play to airdrop campaigns, which really is what we're doing with Loot Drop. It's how do we productize a play to airdrop campaign? And so like with all things, I mean, you have all these kind of independent communities building these kind of extended campaigns where, you do quests, you do actions, you do a lot of things, and then there's like some kind of reward or airdrop or whatever at the end of it. But the problem is that, the reason why I got into Web3 is because I think that everyone working together has such economies of scale and is so powerful. And so for us, it was like, okay, if we have the best, most engaged community, if we have a robust system for reputation, right? If we really know our community members, and then on top of it, we're doing all these campaigns for different communities, and we could say, hey, like this duration works best, right? Or like this prize pool works best, or these kind of quests work best, right? There's like huge economies of scale if we're actually able to host a lot of these play to airdrop or distribution campaigns, because really what communities want is they want real engaged users, right? And that's kind of the core of everything that we're doing. Like Ronan mentioned, it's like we want to build this meritocratic nation, and like I'll just continually drill down on that because it's probably one of the most passionate things I'm most passionate about is like merit engagement. Like that's the lifeblood of any successful community. And so Loot Drop is just saying, hey, we're doing quests, which is really because quests can define any arbitrary like action, right? Action and reward. And we're saying, what if we did kind of an extended campaign? What if we did a 3, 4, 5, 6 week campaign? And it's been really interesting because, so like Mantle, obviously you've been a huge supporter of us. Like we're huge fans of Mantle as well. They were like, hey, we'll do up to a $2 million prize pool with you. So like huge shout out for Mantle for having like the confidence and faith to like go big with us and really try this out. I think it's been wildly successful. Like, I think we're all really excited about it. And hopefully you guys are too. And what's been great is we've gotten a bunch of different communities who've reached out who are like, wow, this is really cool. We were planning on doing something ourselves, but the way that you guys are doing it is just significantly better. And I think like as time progresses, like the Loot Drop product is just going to get better and better and better. And as the Game7 community gets better, it's like, why wouldn't you want to do a distribution, right? Why wouldn't you want to do a community activation with Game7? Really the goal is to have Game7 be the center of gravity for Web3 gaming. And I think Loot Drop is like a fantastic product to start to bring that about.
So this is a bit off the cuff, but is there a stat or a learning from Loot Drop that really stands out over these last couple weeks?
I don't think so. I mean, I think it's like we found pretty consistently. I mean, this is the reason why we ended up having the entire portal sponsored. And this is, just not to get too in the weeds on kind of like infra, right? But it's like I'm a huge fan of all these layer 2s and things spinning up. But there is a lot of friction to actually just get gas to those chains, right? To actually interact with things. And so that's the reason why we have the portal be an entirely gasless experience, right? Like I'm sure a lot of you have noticed that it's like, minting your avatar is completely gas-free. Leveling up is completely gas-free. Claiming your rewards is gas-free, right? Yeah, I don't know if a lot of you have noticed, but like we also put a lot of time and effort into, you can connect to the portal or sign up for the portal connected to quite a few different EVM networks, and we can extend that to basically any EVM equivalent chain. So making it kind of this gas-free experience and kind of this chainless experience is really the direction we see things going. And so we're starting to build the portal as such. And I think that's something that like a lot of our partners are learning as well, is that, if you want people to interact with things, even if it's really cheap, and I think this is to bring it back to like the direct learning, is if you're saying, hey, it only costs a couple of cents, like it's not that big of a deal, just charge people gas for that. It's almost more friction for me to like pay $3 to $4 to bridge 2 cents to an ETH to an ETH L2 than it is to like, like if I'm transferring over like $50, I'm like, okay, I need $50 because I'm doing something big on an L2. If you're asking me to spend like $2, $3, $4, $5 to bridge from ETH L1 to L2 just to pay 2 cents, a lot of people get really frustrated by that, and you actually get low engagement. So I think like that bridging aspect and us trying to support various different like L2s, various different games who want interactions. And so oftentimes, like I think as gas gets cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, you'll just start to look at that as kind of like customer acquisition cost, right? You know, like if it's kind of like a cent or like a sub cent, which is the direction I think we're headed, you know, it's almost doesn't make sense to have that like friction point just for like gas to do actions. If you're actually buying something of value, obviously you want people paying for that, right? But it's kind of nice that this conversation's starting to happen where it's like, you know, what's the intentional friction and what is the friction that we should start to get rid of? So I think that was one of our biggest lessons. And as you'll see in the loot drop, if you complete the first kind of request where you connect all your socials, which you know is kind of like a little bit of a bar to entry that it's like, hey, are you a unique user? Then we give you 0.05 MNT, and that allows you to connect. That allows you to pay for a lot of the transactions throughout the loot drop as well. So I would say that was kind of the interesting thing that's just really been reaffirmed during the loot drop campaign.
Yeah, I mean look, any friction you have to entering a gaming experience that is already a bit foreign to like most gamers is just a no. So it's great to hear that we're solving for that within Summon.
I think
Earlier,
for me also,
yeah.
sometimes when people ask me like, what is the loot drop? And the simple kind of one line that I say is like, it's putting the value back in the player's hands, right? Because we're seeing like traditionally games paying, you know, millions and hundreds of millions of dollars every year on acquiring players, right? But all this value that is then captured in like 3 companies around the world, right? And they're benefiting from all of it, while the players are the one that are eventually creating the value in the game by actually playing and discovering and inviting their friends and spending money. So it's basically a way for us to put the value back in players' hands rather than in centralized corporations.
Yeah, kind of
Bam.
boom, staying true to like the Web3 ethos there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a question here. There's been talk about retroactive rewards. John Ronan, which one do you want to take that one?
Yeah, I mean, I can jump into it because it's something that we think about a lot, right? Where it's like, I think one of my primary frustrations that I've had in like various other communities is that I really hate when people have me do stuff just for the sake of doing stuff, right? Like, I'll spend all this time and effort, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, cool, thanks for doing that. Oh, this season's over, or this aspect's over, and like it just goes away. And I'm like, you know, I kind of spent time, right? You know, it's like I wish that was a little bit more persistent, you know. So like some of these like ephemeral things, I think are kind of frustrating. And so one of the kind of core values at Game7 is we're like, we don't want people to waste their time. Like people should not be doing things that don't lead into other things. And so that's why for us, it's like having this reputation, this persistent reputation that people build in Game7, I think is one of the core differentiators. It's like, you know, all of your previous engagement is extremely important. And so the way that we thought about it is that like all the things that we're releasing, that we're launching, like those should all flow together. And so I think one of the reasons why a lot of people kind of do these more ephemeral or these kind of like one-off things is because having everything flow together and link together is a lot harder, right? It requires a lot more thought. It's a lot more challenging. Like there's a lot more things to consider. So it's like appreciate everyone's patience, right? As we all figure it out. You know, it's like I don't think we're going to be absolutely perfect on a lot of this stuff, but just know that behind the scenes, like there's a lot of thought going into, hey, every action that we have people do, what is that going to look like 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months from now? Because we want it to be, you know, we say it oftentimes, right? It's like the portal is very inspired by like, you know, some of the most popular MMOs, right? And for like MMOs, one of the biggest aspects is like you have this progression, right? You have this reputation, like all the items that you use, like, right? It's like, you know, obviously evolve and iterate and improve, right? But it's all part of kind of like one long path and it's all interconnected. And so like, yeah, so that's just, I guess kind of like the thought process and the inspiration behind it is that, you know, we want, and so I guess to connect that directly to retroactive rewards is that, you know, all the things that you've done, like some of the OGs, you know, who like, you know, have the OG badge, right? Or like people who've done things like when we were just a couple hundred community members, right? It's like all of that stuff we want to recognize, right? You know, all of that stuff we don't want to be kind of wasted. You know, we had the early kind of like pre-alpha of the portal. It was like really clunky, convoluted, right? We got tons of feedback. Like people gave us like tons of inspiration on how to improve and get to this next iteration that you're currently seeing of the portal. And so like all of those things are part of this journey, right? Just because we deprecated the pre-alpha version of the portal and launched a new version, it's not like all of that, all the stuff that you did previously, right? Like all of the kind of like very early people in our community, and all the people who are doing effort right now, that's not going to go away, right? We continually want to kind of like leverage that and reward people, and recognize them really for all the time and effort that they put into our community.
And
Hey, I see that OG badge in the chat. That's sick. Shout out to Jordan on the design. That looks, I love it.
Yeah, Jordan crushed it. Dang it. Yeah, so sorry. I was just gonna say, it's interesting what John just mentioned there, because it's like so core to what Game7 is, right? When you talk a lot about and I always pronounce this word wrong, but meritocracy.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say merit base.
Thank you. Okay.
How do you spell it? How do you spell it?
I don't know how to spell meritocracy, man. Like we have people from all over the world introducing like words that nobody can say. Merit-based system.
There we go, merit.
Yeah, but it's just because Summon's up and all these gamers are piling through, and we have all these partnerships. That isn't why that started. That was like the genesis of why this community was built, and been living and breathing that ethos at least ever since I've been in the community. Which is, I don't even know, over a year.
When we had 20 people, in China, in calls.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, 100%. And I guess like to dive into that too, because it's like I think where a lot of people are kind of like just missing things, right? Is it's like a lot of people will be like, hey, I want to reward and honor kind of the early folks, right? And so like that's something that is obviously a core value of ours. But then the other piece is like, how do we balance that with we want to reward people who continually engage? Because I think what a lot of people do is they say, hey, like all the OGs at some time, we're gonna reward them, right? But it's like, how do you make sure that it's persistent? How do you make sure that the community continues to be successful? Because what a lot of folks do is they say, hey, like let's figure out some kind of reward, let's do some kind of distribution, right? And then it's like, hopefully for the next 1, 2, 3 years, everything works out, and like those early people continue to drive it through. Let's be honest, life happens, things get busy, right? And like communities undergo all these different evolutions and changes and pivots, right? It's really this living organism composed of like, hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of different people, right? And so kind of balancing that system of like, honor the early folks, but continue to honor the people who continually engage, right? The people who are continuing to drive things through. And I think one of the things that I've realized is like really communities are driven by people who show up. You can have the most talented, exceptional individual, but if they're never there, like how is it useful, right? And this is what I've seen in a lot of other communities, right, where it's kind of based on like voting or elections or delegations or something. It tends to be a popularity contest, and so again, we really want to ground things in merit, where it's like it shouldn't be the person who's maybe the loudest, right? The person who's the most popular, or the person who has the most Twitter followers, right? Like really what I want is the person who's here every day, who's in the Discord, who's following everything, who's the most up to date, who really understands the ethos and values, who understands like all of their friends and community members that are around them, their wants, needs, and desires, right? Like that for me is the optimal community. It shouldn't be kind of like a popularity contest, or it shouldn't be who's the most vocal kind of aspect, right? Like maybe there's some overlap between all of those, but it's those who show up, those who put in the effort time and time again. Like that's the lifeblood of any community.
Yeah, and I also see some like questions in chat about whether I'm too late, I'm too early. I mean, frankly, I think everyone that's listening to this call is like extremely early. While we've been building for the last 3 years fairly quietly, mostly focusing on technology and systems and products to get to this stage, like right now we're actually doing the first onboarding, the first big cohort of citizens. So you are early and you have a lot of opportunities here. And even if it seems like, oh, there's like 300 people, maybe like 70,000 people on a portal, at the end, like the people who show up and come back and engage and kind of step up to improve the entire experience for the community, for the nation, through various economic activities or playing games. Like those people that are persistent those are going to be leading this nation over the coming years. So you are early and the opportunities are unlimited. It's a blue ocean of opportunities in Game7 right now. So I'm looking for all the people that want to step up. If you are interested, please reach out to Grand Marquis, to Itamar. There's too many things that needs to be done, and we just can't do everything our own. So we need all of you to help us.
You're right. So there was a topic we touched on earlier. I want to make sure that we spend some time covering credits. Credits, credits, credits. Who in the chat knows what credits are? Too
I want to
sharp.
see what people guess.
Yeah, let's see the conspiracy theories.
Credit. Tushar is very excited about the concept of credits.
You owe a bank.
when you own the nation the bank is built on.
And this is the bank giving you credits.
All right. So let's take it away, folks. What the heck are credits?
No, it's a good question. I mean, I think for credits, it's going to be announced fairly soon. So we want to keep a bit of, we don't want to release too much information since there's a ton of people that are involved in the process, a lot of projects that are involved with credits. So we don't want to give too much about it right now. I think it's fairly soon. All I can say is that credits is basically a tool for the next phase of Game7 that will exist for a limited time, and eventually it's going to help us kind of bootstrap what I said earlier, bootstrap our economy, the currency, and everything in between. So that's as far as I'll share now, and there's going to be news coming out, I believe, in the next week or two.
Okay, so community, I have a challenge for you. So if we can hit 375 people in the audience, I will ask Ronan and John to give us some alpha that makes them slightly uncomfortable to say in front of 375 people. So if you can do that, I'll pose the question.
Bring your friends, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, you're definitely allowed to ask, but I don't know about the answer.
Okay, so with that being said, if you're a community member now, what would you advise them to do or to stay aware of to make sure that they don't miss out on any communication around the potential of credits?
Yeah, and I think it's going to be pretty loud. So if you're not going to hear about it, we didn't do a great job, maybe. I don't think that you need to prepare anything. Like John said in the beginning, everything that you're doing contributes to the system, and the system provide credits for your contribution. So we'll credit you for your contribution. So I don't think there's anything specific you need to worry about. I think for us right now, like I said in the beginning, it's really important that engagement is key. I think we're seeing in the industry really lack of engagement or not quality engagement. And for us, in order to build a better gaming industry and a Web3 gaming industry, engagement and real playing and actually contributing through feedback or through gameplay, it's the most important thing, at the end of the day. So everything that we're built is really tailored for that. So as long as you're doing everything on the portal, you engage, play games on Hyperplay, check what's available on the portal. It's nothing really different that you have to do what you're doing now if that's what you're doing. So I wouldn't worry about anything else right now, and I would just come back and follow Twitter, make sure that you get notifications on, so you're the first one to know when things are happening, and yeah, stay engaged in the community, and yeah, that's it.
Very cool. Like I said earlier in the call, like with a lot of things in life, you get out of it what you put in. So supporting the ecosystem around Game7, I think is a smart call. Cool. I did want to take a little bit of time to chat about the Boomland faction contest. I don't know about everybody else, but that was straight ridiculous.
That was
My
so
wife
close.
my wife had to pull me away from the computer a couple times. It's one of those types. It's like I gotta cool down. I can do a couple more games real quick. It's fine. Um, but yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
I think the Boomland function, for those who maybe are not aware, but Game7 was competing on the leaderboard for the Boomland play to airdrop, one of the first play to airdrop campaign for Boomland, which is a Hunters on Chain game. And we started from the bottom, and then we reached second place after Cajun. So again, all the people participated and engaged, enjoy our function. We're going to be distributing the rewards. So I think there's about like 3 million Boom rewards that were allocated to the top three communities. Yeah, 3 million Boom. So yeah, as soon as we get the updates from the Boomland team about how this reward, when we're going to receive these rewards, we'll be providing more information. And for all of you who participated and joined our function, I think there's about 1,500 of us that play the game and participated. So as soon as we get updates from Boomland team, we'll provide more information about how we're going to be distributing these rewards to the community.
Yeah, and I just wanted to give a shout out because it's like, so Cajun one fantastic community, right? Like a huge fan of them. Like it's been fantastic working with them, but it's like they're massive. It's like I think the last thing they posted is like they have like 3 million community members, and so like for me, it's finishing second place and having it be so close. Like it's really validation for what Game 7 is trying to be. It's like we might not be the biggest community yet, but we are the most engaged community, right? And like you see that on the leaderboard, right? Where it's like, we didn't necessarily have the most people, but we by far had the most engaged people. Like it was absolutely insane. So huge shout out to all those 1,500 plus people who participated. Like you put in a ton of time and effort. It was like fantastic watching us climb up the leaderboard, right? And be so competitive. But I think it's like that small and mighty aspect. Like that's really what we want to keep up. Like as we approach 1 million users, like we're just going to be a complete force of nature in the ecosystem. Because it's for us, it's not about quantity, it's about quality in all things that we do, and I think that was really validation of that. So yeah, let's go.
I think what's really cool too is seeing some of the progress and some of the figures that we've been able to contribute to the space through Summon, and then the partners who come to us with like these creative opportunities to um, reward our community while also benefiting their ecosystem. Like, you don't invite a community to that type of activation unless you really kind of vibe and believe in what they're doing. And I think it's just a testament to what we're trying to build here at Game7. Can't wait for more and more partners to provide more and more opportunities to do the same going forward.
Yeah, that's basically kind of like what we mentioned earlier. Like that's why I said the more you play games that are partnering with us, the more you participate both on Portal and play games on Hyperplay that you find interesting. Like this directly benefit all of us. So sometimes it might not seem like maybe you're doing something that benefits, but literally like every time you play a game that is partnered with Game7, you're benefiting the nation, and the rewards are going to be increased as a result of that. So it's really about, as a community, we should hold each other accountable, play as many games because we love playing games, and if we have time to play games, we should be playing games, and come together to basically prove that our community and our nation can bring and actually generate a lot of value for the gaming industry, for the games that we partner, for the network that we partner, because that's basically creating that positive flywheel that will benefit all of us. So just to mention that.
All right. I oh um so actually I just got a text from Itamar. He wanted to say not related to credits per se, but is there any other upcoming announcements or alpha or little sneak peeks on things that you wouldn't mind sharing today? Even if it's just a single word, he said that's totally fine. Yeah, anything come to mind?
Yeah, I mean, I said like Reddit is like a big thing that we've been working on for a while. We are in the coming weeks, I don't have exact time on it, but we'll release the Game7 kind of high level light paper and white paper. So for people to get like a full picture of everything we're working on, how everything is connected with each other, what is the next phase is going to look like. I think for newcomers, it tend to be a bit cumbersome maybe when they first join the community, and it might not be super clear. So we try to basically make it more clear, make it more just like straightforward for newcomers, for onboarding. So that's something that will come soon. It's not necessarily an alpha or how to get rewarded more, but I think there's enough rewards coming up that like I don't think people should be challenging whether there's rewards coming.
Yeah, I did want to. This isn't really alpha. Like, hopefully you already know. But it's like we are at like almost 47,500 users or players for loot drop, and for maybe those of you who don't know, like once we hit 50K, we get a bunch more rewards added to basically the loot drop campaign. And so there's basically more uncommon boxes, more rare boxes, and I think the biggest one is that the legendary box goes from 10K MNT to 20K MNT. So that's a big number. So I'm hoping that probably in the next couple of days we hit that, and then maybe we'll hit the 75K, which is like another big bump where the legendary box goes from 20K to 30K. So definitely invite all your friends, kind of like let them know, like the more people who do loot drop, the bigger the prize pool becomes. But yeah, I hopefully next community call we have somebody posting screenshot of getting a 20,000 MNT. I'm pretty hyped about that. That'd be crazy.
Yes, I think it was I think Tushar dropped a screenshot earlier of what was it, Tushar? I don't want to misspeak. Anyways, yes, that'd be very nice. That'd be very, very, very nice.
And I
Okay.
think that, I don't know, maybe Itamar can talk about it. I think maybe Itamar, if there's any updates on just the Game7 Guardians, are we doing anything around that, adding more people to the Guardians?
Yes, we are and we will. We are currently pretty much lurking and kind of taking our own notes, and I presume that we will have more about that in, I would say, probably 6 weeks' time, maybe a bit more. But we still get some time. But we are lurking and we are kind of collecting our own information in the meantime. That's all I would say.
You're acting as a CIA of the nation, lurking on people.
Exactly. I can't be dropping alpha like you guys. Like, you'll fire me, so I need to.
Okay, sounds good.
Very cool. Now, in preparing for this call, we did get a couple questions from the community in advance. I'm gonna read through these here. So we just touched on Guardians, but Tushar, coincidentally, wanted to know about the various roles in Game7, and then if people want to contribute or reach out, how is that handled or supported in Game7?
Yeah, I mean, so I think on the last call, so there's a few areas. I think on the last call we shared open roles that we're looking for the core team. So I think there's a link. Yeah, Itamar just posted a link. If you want to apply, if you have any of these skills, we desperately need them. So please apply and make sure that Itamar knows that you applied, and if there's any way to basically put it in the application, just make sure that we know that you're part of the Game7 community. The other thing is kind of in just community in general. If you're looking to host physical events around for Game7 around big conferences around the world, if you want to organize meetups for your community locally, if you want to just organize it like online events for our community, like Ryan basically stepped up and said, I want to run this like AMAs because it's really important for the community to get insights from the core team. So he really stepped up and proposed that. So it's a mix of if you have any proposal that you think would be valuable for the community as a whole, you can feel free to propose it to Itamar or to Grand Marquis, right? I think we're open for any proposals. If you're looking for a job or a full-time job, please check the opportunities link and apply. And outside of that, like I said earlier, the biggest contribution that you can make is play games on our portal, play games on Hyperplay. This creates a lot of value for us right now as we're gearing up to the next phase of Game 7. So the more engagement we have, the more game time we have, the bigger that project will be, and the bigger the nature will accrue. So that's I think a few areas. I don't know, Itamar, maybe I missed a few. I think there's maybe some bounties as well that we're putting out there. So I don't know if Itamar or Grand Marquis, you guys want to share any bounties as well? That might be cool.
I'll let Michael speak over bounties because that's his area of expertise. So I'll pass him the mic for that one.
Yeah, we've got some pretty exciting user-generated content bounties that are about to go live. I can share that it is related to the credits campaign that you'll be hearing more about. But basically, a lot of you have been doing this in chat, helping each other out, and we want to reward people who can create compelling video guides to all things Game 7 and Summon. So if you have some talent in that area, keep an eye out. We'll be announcing it on Twitter. We'll be pushing it in Discord, and you can get a pretty nice size bounty for video content that helps others, learn about Game 7 and engage in the quests. So we're really excited for those bounties. And as Itamar also stated, if you're in a geo where there's not a lot of events, or maybe there's some good blockchain events coming through, and you want to post something connected with Game 7, reach out to us. Alok, a community member, has done a number of events globally, probably on 2 or 3 continents for us, and it's been stellar. We can't be everywhere, but together as a community, we are everywhere. So, please reach out if you're interested.
Boom. Yeah, I can attest. Went to GDC for the first time earlier this year and had the opportunity to meet some G7 members in person, and it is amazing. It is amazing to be able to put faces to the name, grab drinks with people that you've been chatting with online for years. Highly recommend. Highly recommend. Okay, we had another question. This is from Lord D. So shout out to Lord D if you're in the chat. They asked what's next for Game 7. I think we've covered that a bit. They asked about the utility of the Game 7 avatars. Potentially any in-game uses for those avatars. I guess John, Ronan, do you guys want to take that one?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. I mean, so first of all, shout out to Hayden and the design team for the avatars. I mean, it's a ton of effort. And now Clara is also a part of the team designing some really cool wearables. So like all you folks who got the mantle ones. So anyway, just shout out. I love the avatars, and I'm really excited about all the items that are getting produced. There might be a little bit of alpha that there's some like third-party artists who've also been very excited and interesting. That Jordan's been leading the charge on for having some new and exciting kind of third-party wearables out there. So a little bit of alpha, I guess, at the end of the call. I would say that all of the avatars are game ready. And so we've had a few folks do some kind of like proof of concepts of like what it would take to drop into their game, and it was really easy. So I would say it's not something that we necessarily have plans like in the short term. Wow, that's a nice legendary item, Tushar. But anyway, distracted by the shiny thing. But I would say that it's super easy for folks to do that. So it's conversations that we've been having. So maybe in the next couple of weeks I'll have a little bit more tangible update. But we built them in a way that would be very easy for them to be dropped and kind of exposed in game. So yeah.
Sweet. So we're gonna be doing these questions shotgun here. We got 8 minutes. This is from Spade in the chat. What's the use of the leaderboard? Thank you.
Yeah, so the leaderboard, it's something that I think we have some pretty exciting plans that we're going to be announcing kind of shortly post credits on what the next phase of the leaderboard is. So we're really going to be ramping it up. Right now, leaderboard is really just standing within the community, right? It's like, how many quests have you completed? How much XP have you earned? And it's really just like a simple leaderboard. I mean, the way that we kind of think about XP is that XP is like units of engagement. And so the more XP you have, that means the more engaged that you've been. And so there's going to be a few more ephemeral quests that are going to be popping up because like right now, a lot of the stuff is persistent. That as long as you complete it, last month, next month, right, you'll still be able to earn that XP. But it is going to be a little bit more timely for some of the things coming up. But as always, like we say, it's like we want to build this meritocratic nation, and how much effort and how much engagement you put in is important. So the higher up on the leaderboard you are, the more XP that you have, the higher level that you are. That's another thing to call out. I think a lot of folks have a ton of XP, but they're kind of a low level. So if you haven't leveled up, it's sponsored. Like, why haven't you leveled up? I would just call that out. Your level is going to be important coming up, so I might want to do that. Yeah, so really just leaderboard is just kind of simply your reputation within the ecosystem and kind of your standing within the community.
Okay, I got a challenge for you. You said the word ephemeral. Can you spell that word?
Yeah, it's EP. I think it's EPHEMERAL, but I might be wrong.
We need to fact check on this community.
Yeah. Dictionary, please.
Dude, Jerry and KT the Kiltman spelling things instantly. That's wild. Yeah, we'll do a Game 7 spelling bee. Yes. Let me be the host though.
I want a spelling bee, but in Philippines.
Hey,
Whoa.
magandang
Yeah,
araw.
we have a lot of
Anti-disestablishmentarianism.
we have a lot of members from there, and we should account for that as well. Not everybody is a great English speakers like you guys. Entitled English speakers.
True that. It's an international nation.
T-Shard,
It is.
that was my ability to say good morning in Tagalog. It's not very good, but I tried. Okay. Cool. All right. So, John, Ronan, awesome conversation. We got 5 minutes before this thing wraps up. Any last thoughts, comments you want to share with the community?
Just one thing is that there's been a few questions, I guess, to like follow up on the kind of like avatar and game and things like that, is that the items will matter that you have, and I think I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, maybe a little bit of alpha is that I think there's a lot of people with cool items, right? There's a lot of people who got lucky items. I know there's a few people who are trying to corner the market on legendary items, and some people are just kind of giving them away, unfortunately. But I would say that the rarity and kind of items that you have is going to matter in the coming months. So just an FYI.
Does it mean not sell them, or does it mean buy them?
Hey, not financial advice, man. I don't know. You do what you want to do. I'm just saying that it's not just vanity per se, but yeah, vanity metric.
Cool. Yeah, thanks Ryan for organizing the call. Thanks everyone for joining. It's really amazing to have so many new members joining and listening. I think 350 people listening. It's a great accomplishment for all of us as a community, and encourage everyone to come back, listen in. I think for the next one, please bring up more questions. Like Ryan is spending a lot of time trying to collect questions and making sure that everyone here really understand what we're doing, why we're doing it, and how, and what's in for them. I think that's really important as a nation. So please ask any questions, bring up the questions. We would love to answer anything that we can. If you have complaints, concerns, that's okay as well. Please bring them up. If you want to troll, feel free to troll, but we're probably not going to answer or respond to it, but feel free to troll. We're here to support you, to answer anything. So feel free to use us as a resource as we're gearing up for the next stage of the Game7 Nation.
Boom. That's it, folks. That's a wrap. We'll catch you in the next one. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Peace.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Peace.
Thanks for coming.